driving. My mom had to sit down with me. I guess she thought I was old enough to know now, and she been saying Sean Carter, that's what she was calling him at first before she was calling it Daisy, and I really didn't know who that was because I was young and, you know, had my little brother, and I really wasn't worrying about it. She was saying it a lot, but I really, this was going along with the person I was just seeing, like the person I looked at who was taking care of me at that time. I really wasn't really trying to understand what my mom was talking about, but she constantly put it in my head like, son, it's not your father, and I really want you to know it is. This person is your father. Mission to keep the case going. So it was a big case to me because, you know, I really wanted to find out who my father was, and for the case not to go how I was planning it, I really thought it was going to go different than.
It's unfortunate that you were shot at. I'm glad that you were okay from that. Do you think that was a situation where you were targeted, and if so, are you scared for your life?
No, I'm not scared for my life.
Welcome back to your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Let's spill the tea on today's hottest drama. A federal judge just told Jay-Z to take a paternity test, and boom. Not even 2 days later, his alleged son's car got lit up with bullets. That's not random. That's a threat. Somebody wanted to make sure he stayed silent, or else. This ain't just about baby drama. This is legal pressure, media silence, and a billionaire machine doing everything it can to crush one man before he opens his mouth and brings the whole empire down. Back in 1992, Jay-Z allegedly got involved with a teenage girl named Wanda Satterthwaite, known in the streets as Precious. She was just 16 at the time, and now her son is demanding the truth, and possibly justice too. It was just a quick hookup, protected, but clearly not protected enough. Wanda later said the condom snapped, and just like that, she got pregnant. From that moment on, her world turned upside down. Jay-Z, gone, disappeared. She couldn't find him anywhere.
Where in September, he was in a parking lot with other people, near where he's at living now, and out of all the cars there, his was the only one shot up. So we believe that was a nexus or a connection, I believe, between the case and what's going on, because it was around the time. In addition to that, we've had people come to my home in the past, driving on the grass. We have people knocking on the door at 4 o'clock in the morning. We've been through all of it, mostly around the filing time. So this is a bigger picture than this. We want to try to make a difference with the Pro Se Act or the Legal Abuse Act, bringing new legislation and trying to sit down at the table with the lawmakers to make a difference.
No Instagram, no cell phone, no public team to trace. He just vanished without a word. She never saw him again. And get this, she was only 16 when she gave birth, unconscious in a hospital bed. That's when her boyfriend at the time, Robert Graves, stepped in and signed the birth certificate. But according to people close to Wanda, Robert knew the baby wasn't his. He signed anyway, just to get a few extra government benefits like food stamps. That's how desperate things were. But the pain didn't stop there. When her son Rymir turned 8, Wanda finally sat him down. And that's when everything changed. She looked him in the eye and said it straight. Jay-Z is your father. That moment hit like a truck. And from there, the scars only got deeper. Wanda never switched up her story, not once. For years, she begged Jay-Z to take a paternity test. She even offered to keep everything low-key and handle it privately. But Jay-Z, he stayed silent. Still, Wanda didn't back down. She kept fighting through closed doors, dismissed cases, shady lawyers who ghosted her, and judges who told her straight up that she was wasting the court's time. But when she started realizing she might not live to see justice, she made a bold move. She signed a sworn affidavit, putting it in black and white. Jay-Z is Rymir's father. In 2019, Wanda passed away from heart failure, and one of the last things she told Rymir, keep pushing. The truth will come out. This wasn't a woman chasing headlines.
Saying that she's a big part of the problem for him, and some of the things that she was doing, a woman would not, she would have some sort of role in what her husband does. And if she was secure with herself and with the situation, not saying you gotta like it, she would help her husband handle.
She didn't want clout. She just wanted her son to know who he really was. Now Rymir's all grown up, and he's not backing down either. In 2014, he filed a civil paternity suit against Jay-Z, trying to finish what his mom started. But this time he had backup, his godmother and legal guardian, Lily Coley, who stood by him ever since Wanda's health took a turn. And here's where things start to smell real shady. Jay-Z didn't handle the case like a regular person. Nah, His legal team allegedly built this insane maze full of delays, confusion, and straight-up misdirection, all just to stop one basic thing: a mouth swab. That's it, a simple DNA test. Let that sink in for a second. Instead of just taking the test and clearing his name, Jay-Z's lawyers allegedly tried to twist the whole legal system just to avoid it. Here's how the game allegedly got rigged. When Rymir and his godmother Lily filed the paternity suit, they did it in New Jersey, and for good reason. That's where the alleged hookup with Wanda went down. And word on the street was Jay-Z even owned property there. Their plan? Prove his ties to the state so the court could legally demand a DNA test.
Everybody makes mistakes, as I said before, but it's time to actually do your job and look at everything and get it correct, because you cannot use fraud to continue anything in this world. You can't use fraud to help you get forward in life. Then try to continue on your fraud, or continue using fraud to get forward in life, and the courts just let you do that. That's unconstitutional, and I think we should really be looking to fix that problem.
But Jay-Z's legal team clapped back with a slick move. They claimed he didn't live in Jersey, so the court had no power over him. Sounds clean, except there's evidence suggesting otherwise. Property receipts, tax records, even business filings tied to Jay-Z reportedly linked him straight to New Jersey. But somehow, his lawyers used a New York address to slide out of it. That technicality got the case thrown out. But it didn't end there. It got darker. Lily says that while Wanda was sedated in the hospital, recovering from a coma, Jay-Z's team allegedly swooped in with paperwork. She was barely conscious, still fighting for her life, and they reportedly got her to sign legal documents she didn't even understand. Imagine that, a mother, vulnerable in a hospital bed, unknowingly giving up her rights. That one move gave Jay-Z's legal team serious control. And once again, the case was shut down. And here's the part that'll make your jaw drop. Lily claims Rymir's own legal team might have been working against him. Allegedly, lawyers were switching sides, making mistakes in court filings, and introducing errors so big, it almost looked like sabotage. Instead of fighting for Rymir, they might have been playing for the other team. If that's true, this wasn't just a legal case, this was a setup. So not only was Jay-Z's legal team allegedly playing dirty, it looks like Rymir's own side might have been helping them. And the court didn't seem to care. The case got tossed out. Again. But the deeper Rymir and Lily pushed, the more they ran into sealed files and blocked doors. All of this just to avoid one thing, a simple DNA swab.
Explained how Jay-Z has a secret baby by Free from 106 in Park. Now we know Wendy Williams always kept us rolling with the tea, and Wendy Williams was the first person to expose that Jay-Z had a secret baby by Free. She explained how she was told that Jay-Z and 50 Cent were in the delivery room when Free had her baby. And we know that there have been rumors for years that Jay-Z had a secret baby by Free, and how she was allegedly paid off to keep quiet, and that's why she disappeared from 106 in Park and we've never heard from her again. And honestly, these rumors of Jay-Z having these secret babies back then were huge. There was like 5 different women back then that were rumored to have children with Jay-Z. And yes, when all of this was going on, he was with...
Because let's be real, if you're not the father, why fight this hard? Why build legal mazes and slam every door shut? See, this wasn't just about paternity. It was about what that DNA could really uncover. If Jay-Z is the father, that means the world finds out he had a child with a girl who was only 16 at the time. And in several states, that could legally fall under statutory laws, depending on the timeline and location. That's serious. Now people are starting to ask the real question. Was this ever just about proving fatherhood? Or was Jay-Z trying to bury something way deeper? Even when Rymir filed motions with the Supreme Court to unseal old records, they were denied. Not because he was wrong, but because the court said it didn't have the jurisdiction. Every time they knocked, the system shut the door in their face. But then, everything changed. A federal judge finally stepped in. And this time, the ruling was clear. Jay-Z must respond to the paternity suit. No more legal dancing, no more dodging. And here's the part most people missed. Under New Jersey law, if Jay-Z fails to respond, he's legally presumed to be the father. That decision put it all on the line. Now Jay-Z had only 2 options: face the test or face the truth. Take the test or be legally listed as the father. That was the ultimatum. And right after that court ruling dropped, things took a dark turn. On July 18th, the judge made it official. No more shielding Jay-Z. But by September 2023, just weeks later, the situation got real dangerous. Rymir says he was shot at, in his own driveway. He wasn't alone. There were other people around, cars everywhere, but somehow, only his vehicle got hit. That's no random act. That sounds like a warning. Lily, his godmother, backed it up during an interview on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast. She said straight up, it felt like payback for going public, and apparently, that wasn't the first time they felt targeted. Lily claims that for years, she and Rymir were followed, watched, even threatened while trying to move this case forward. And every time they got closer to forcing that DNA test, the pressure got heavier, the fear got real. But here's where things spiral into a whole new level of messy. Lily says she believes Beyoncé herself might have stepped into the shadows on this one, not just watching, allegedly pulling strings behind the scenes. That's a huge claim. But according to Lily, it felt like powerful people were doing whatever it took to shut this down. The vibe? Someone was trying to make sure this story never sees the light. They say Beyoncé allegedly wanted Rymir silenced, quietly and permanently. Not because she thought he was lying, but because the truth could blow up their billion-dollar family image. Word is, she wanted the whole case buried before it ever hit the headlines. At one point, Jay-Z's team even floated the idea of signing Rymir to Roc Nation, almost like a peace offering. But according to Lily, Beyoncé shut it down fast. That offer vanished overnight, and it didn't stop there. Jay-Z took it to the booth too, throwing not-so-subtle shade in his music. He dropped that now infamous bar that had the internet buzzing, singing Billie Jean in his prime for the 1,000th time. The kid ain't mine. Online, they call me dad kiddingly. Then he added, "You're not supposed to take this dad thing literally. That's too famous. We don't really do famous. I'm cool on that. Chuck the 2 fingers every day. I'm getting sued. I show up to court without a suit. Your every move is on the news, ain't it? Ish has its perks too, ain't it?" Let's be real. That wasn't about some random gossip. That was a direct shot at Rymir, who had already been fighting for over a decade just to get a DNA test. So how did Rymir respond? He clapped back the only way he could, with a track of his own. And he didn't hold back. Ninjas washed up, still doing tracks like 55. Where the F you at? Need to go back to your old days. Grown man in his old ways. Rymir made it clear, this wasn't just about dissing Jay-Z. It was about taking back his voice. If Jay was going to drop billion-dollar bars brushing him off, Rymir felt he had every right to answer back with his own truth. At this point, Lily and Rymir weren't taking chances. They started documenting everything. Timestamps, busted up photos, suspicious cars, names, even drive-bys. They knew things were getting serious, so they went public. They sat down with Tasha K, talked to The Sun, and opened up on Hip Hop Uncensored, because if someone tried to erase them, at least the truth would still be out there. By now, Rymir wasn't just fighting for a DNA test. He was up against a whole legal system that, according to him, seemed more focused on protecting Jay-Z's brand than delivering justice. And the more you look into the receipts, the messier it gets. This was never a fair fight. Let's start with the fact that 6 different judges handled this case over the years, and somehow, not one of them forced Jay-Z to take a paternity test. Not one. Then in 2023, Rymir and Lily flipped the script. They filed a brand new lawsuit, but this time, it wasn't aimed at Jay-Z. They went after the New Jersey court system itself. They accused the courts of fraud, obstruction, and violating Rymir's civil rights. The lawsuit straight up claimed the judges were working together to protect Jay-Z from ever having to face the truth. Rymir even dropped a video calling it all out. But it gets worse. When he asked for the early court records to be unsealed, the Supreme Court shut him down again. No explanation, no justice, just another locked door. Not because Rymir was wrong, but because the Supreme Court said they didn't have jurisdiction. But here's the part that hits hard. Under New Jersey law, if someone refuses a paternity test and there's enough supporting evidence, that person can be legally presumed the father, which means Jay-Z could have already been declared Rymir's dad by law, but the courts never enforced it. And now, this fight has cost Rymir 14 years of legal fees, endless paperwork, and emotional damage that money can't fix. All for one thing, a straight answer. Let's call it like it is. This case looks like it was deliberately sabotaged, not to protect truth, not to protect justice, but to protect Jay-Z's image and avoid the media firestorm that would follow. Because if this ever sees a courtroom, and Jay-Z's name gets tied to claims that he fathered a child with a 16-year-old back in the day, In a world that's already post-R, Kelly, this won't be about a paternity test anymore. It'll be a full-blown PR disaster. After nearly 20 years of silence, sealed records, threats, false addresses, and missed court dates, the countdown is now officially on. Jay-Z has until July 18th to respond to the federal judge's order. If he doesn't, he's legally presumed to be Rymir's father. But that's not the only storm brewing. Behind the scenes, there's another secret starting to rise, and it might change everything. Now here's where it all starts to make sense. Why Jay-Z might have fought so hard to keep this story in the shadows. Word on the street is, Rymir might not be the only secret child. For years, insiders have whispered about a hidden daughter, allegedly born from a different fling in the early 90s, and she's reportedly older than Rymir. But unlike him, she never stepped forward. Why? Because allegedly, Jay-Z paid her to stay silent, and according to one creator, Wendy Williams was one of the first to call him out on it. That changes everything, because if this is true, it points to a pattern. Deny the kid publicly, but fund their silence behind the scenes. And if Jay-Z was allegedly willing to support a daughter quietly, why not Rymir? Why fight this boy so hard for so many years? The answer might come down to two key details. Wanda was underage when they reportedly got involved, and Rymir didn't stay quiet. He spoke up, loud, and now, it might be too late to clean it up. Rymir's made it clear. He's not chasing money. He's said it over and over. What he wants is truth, recognition, and peace. But Lily, she's taking it even further. Her lawsuit isn't just about a DNA test anymore. Now they're demanding punitive damages, a full unsealing of all court records, an official jury trial, and even a criminal investigation into alleged court corruption. This is no longer some civil nuisance. It could blow open the doors to more lawsuits, more exposure, and maybe more secret children stepping into the light. And if Beyoncé really did have a hand in keeping all this quiet, that's not just a messy situation, that's a brand crisis that hits everything. Because let's be real, the Carters are media-trained pros. They've handled cheating rumors, elevator fights, even fake breakup headlines. But this is the one storm they've never been able to silence, because this isn't gossip anymore. It's paperwork. It's court rulings. It's real. Right now, Rymir's stuck in limbo, still fighting, even if it takes the rest of his life. Jay-Z's got two options left. Take the test, or let that court document call him dad forever. And if you think Rymir's the only one, just wait, because word is, Jay-Z's team allegedly bought a house in Connecticut for that secret daughter. She never filed a lawsuit. She's never worked a day in her life, and she stayed silent, at least for now. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.